What is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. iPhone 7 Plus now. The iPhone 7 Plus in summer 2019 is going on its 3rd year anniversary in September. It'll be 3 years old at that point, and the phone is hanging on, and it's hanging on quite well, and mostly because of iOS 13, which you see right here, which brings a lot of new features to the device, including my favorite new feature, which is the dark mode that comes to this product. It's just gonna make it so much easier to read stuff at night, and having a jet black model or even the matte black model just kind of matches really well with this device. So it's summer 2019, and where do we stand with design on the 7 Plus? Now the 7 Plus, while it still looks like the 8 Plus, also looks very similar to products Apple's still launching in the iPad line. So if you take a look at this iPad mini 5 right here, it's got the same basic design as that. So even now that it's, way past the 7 Plus's modern days, it's kind of older now, it still doesn't look super outdated, which is a good thing. So if you bought this phone right now, or were considering buying one or getting one on the cheap, I don't think you'll be disappointed in the phone. And if you're not comparing to these very sleek all-screen devices, you probably won't even think twice about it. And you get that standard 16:9 aspect ratio, which allows you to make this phone go in a landscape mode. You don't get that on the iPhone XS Max even, which is disappointing, but it's probably because of Face ID. And with this phone, you still get that haptic feedback home button, which is an improvement over the clicky ones you find on the iPads or older iPhones. So at the end of the day, this phone definitely does not stand out in the marketplace anymore. But as an older iPhone, it still doesn't look too outdated, mostly because the 8 Plus still exists for sale, and Apple's got iPads that came out this year that still have the same basic design. So while not strong design, it's serviceable, it's functional, and nobody's gonna look at that phone and be like, oh, that's an ugly phone. It's a good looking phone still. So talking about display quality, not only is this display LCD, but it also has P3 wide color gamut. So it's a very natural, very accurate display, and it's 1080p. So this is a higher resolution than what you get on the Apple iPhone XR, which is always fun when you have a crispier display than another iPhone. In addition to that, this phone has 3D touch built in. So still has some flagship features on it, because initially the 7 Plus was a flagship device. So summer 2019, besides the fact that it's kind of, an older style aspect ratio, most videos are still in 16:9. And while this display might not be OLED, you don't have to do none of this pinch to zooming stuff or anything like that when watching video. And then when you are watching video or playing a game, it's a flat display, so you also don't have to deal with, accidental presses on the edges. You got place to hold onto. So this is a very nice and wide display to use with good color accuracy, good sharpness, and it gets plenty bright in most conditions. So I never had an issue with the 7 Plus display, and right now in 2019, I still do not have an issue with this display. Although it's not the best, it's still very good. And because that display was not an OLED, you also have good chances of this lasting a long time, because you don't have to deal with burn-in. Now, LCDs can have light bleed, but Apple's got good quality control, so I haven't seen that on pretty much any iPhone I've ever purchased before. Now, the crown jewel of this phone is iOS 13, which brings things like dark modes. It brings new 3D touch-like looking icons right here. In addition to that, you're gonna get different wallpapers, improved performance. You also get better messages, iMessage with emoji coming to these older devices. You get performance improvements with animation speed. You get improved Find My Friends, Find My iPhone type features. You get improved maps. I seen an Apple Car driving around collecting more map data, so that's going to improve as well. Overall, iOS 13 improves on iOS 12 and makes it even better, and brings it more in line with Samsung when it comes to the dark mode features. So tons of features coming to iOS 13 on the 7 Plus, and right now on public beta 3, it has been performing very well. So if you were worried about getting this phone in performance, I'm here to tell you don't worry at all. It's going to be just fine. So I like where the 7 Plus is going. It still feels modern with the software, just the hardware a little bit less than modern, but still the software still works very well on the iPhone, and it's just a super smooth device here. And look at that performance, just very silky smooth. You got nothing to worry about on the iPhone 7 Plus. And if you look right here, we also have swipe texting that comes to iOS 13. So another awesome feature for this device. So if you were to pick one up right now, I expect this to be a really good performer on iOS 13. I will do an actual official test when the 13 does come out for this phone, so stay tuned for that. So with the cameras on the iPhone 7 Plus, while they might not be the best cameras out there anymore, these are still really good cameras, and I would actually say they're better than a lot of cheap phones that are launching today, but they're not the best. They do have some issues in low light. They're a little bit noisy in low light. In addition to that, they don't have the best dynamic range as some of these newer phones, but nobody's gonna look at these photos and be like, that's bad photo quality. They're still far better than even the iPads give you, or those front-facing cameras you get on like a MacBook Pro. They're much better than that. You also get 4K on here, so I don't think much of you are gonna have an issue with the camera on the 7 Plus, unless you're a picture snob and you're looking for the best dynamic range, the best HDR, the best everything in your camera. The iPhone 7 Plus is still a functional iPhone and has telephoto zooming as well as portrait mode. This was the first iPhone to bring it with the depth effect. So while the depth effect on here is not that great, it still does work. So where do we stand right now on the 7 Plus when it comes to its audio? You seen I was covering both speakers and you could still hear it. That's because it has dual speakers on here, one at the bottom, one at the top. No headphone jack on this phone, but this is when Apple went ahead and decided to get rid of it. This is also not the loudest speakers. But they still are plenty loud enough, although a lot of speakers have improved with Dolby Atmos on newer phones and things like that. But these iPhone 7 Plus speakers are still, again, they're serviceable, and I'm not too disappointed with using them. They're not like tinny or low or anything like that. So the battery health on the iPhone is somewhat of concern if you're buying one of these used, so make sure that you get one that has 100% capacity if you can, because once they start dipping below 100, they do start to lose a battery a little bit quicker. Mine has dipped below that here for the iPhone 7 Plus, but you're getting new features like optimized battery charging here, which you could turn on for your iPhone and iOS 13 that helps you reduce your battery aging. So that can be helpful as well. But for me, the 7 Plus has always been a day phone. If initially it was a day and a half, but it's since went down to a day phone, but still never have an issue getting through the day. I finished the day with about 25-30% on this phone. So it's a 1 day phone easily with the 7 Plus on battery life. Standby always good as always with most iPhones. In conclusion, the iPhone 7 Plus, in my opinion, is one of the best old iPhones around. And it really, you can find this on some pretty good deals for this device right here. It also has water resistance IP67, not IP68, but it's still pretty good. The 7 Plus offers up a really nice 1080p screen. The A10 Fusion is still found in Apple's current budget iPad, the iPad 2018. And like I say, look at these deals, $298. You can get this thing at $369, $299 refurbished. Again, look out to make sure they're not too messed up, scratches, bad battery life, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, with iOS 13, this phone has still got some years left out of it. Anyway, if you guys found this video helpful, entertaining, informing, do me a favor, click that like button for me. If you're new here, consider subscribing for more. If you have any questions on the iPhone 7 Plus, what it's like to use on iOS 13, should you buy one, you're trying to decide between this or another phone, drop it in the community down below. People will help you out. If I don't get back to you, I'll try to get back to you if I can. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well, and peace.